Viktor Orban's formula for peace in Ukraine, an addendum. In Malta on October 28th, Ukraine peace talks were held by 60 countries, including Ukraine, but Russia and China did not attend the event, claiming that it was an anti-Russian event. There is also no formula to have a follow-on discussion with Russia from this event, so it's not really peace talks in any substantive context. The Malta talks elicited a Russian response by the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, who was attending the Beijing Jingshan Forum, which is a military and diplomacy event in China, who stated over the weekend, October 30th, that Russia was ready for post-conflict settlement to the war, which would include talks on coexistence with the West. So the Russians are aware that peace in Ukraine would have to involve negotiating with the West, who Shoigu accused of trying to undermine Russian security and its will to resist. This statement is both to the material support the West has lavished on Ukraine in its war and NATO expansion talks into the Ukraine before the war. Shoigu most likely to warn the Asian audience that NATO is expanding to reach into the Asia-Pacific region. NATO and the West have been aggressive and have created an unstable world in its pursuit of expansion. This expansion is carrying it towards a conflict between nuclear powers and risks grave consequences for the world. He also suggests a role for the UN and the UN Security Council to maintain stability and ensure fairness in a multipolar world. The statement from Shoigu seems to indicate that the issues with NATO and the West was that's what led to the Ukraine war more than anything the Ukrainians did. It is also an acknowledgement that the Russians intended to return to a multipolar world, which will not make globalists happy. The final statement was that no peace with Ukraine is possible unless Ukraine acknowledges the gains of 2014, mainly the seizure of Crimea, and the acceptance of the realities regarding the expansion of Russian territory when it illegally annexed the Ukraine provinces of Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia. All of these are as much of a non-starter for Ukraine as the 10-point Ukraine plan is a non-starter for Russia. The Russian position seems to have been much more focused on the need of the West to come to the bargaining table to reach an agreement to end the Ukraine war.